Hello everyone and welcome to the kind of next kind of episode, bit of the kind of working on my Napoleonic forces. You'll notice there's quite a lot of grey plastic back there and not that much that's been primed and not that much that's been glued. So not had a very productive week this week because I've been in work every day, which is good. For a full school day, so I've been getting back and kind of been working on working on kind of my area for kind of spraying and priming, which admittedly I think is just a bit of cardboard on I don't know what kind of thing, on a workbench in the garage so I can get things sprayed. But once I've got things sprayed on there, I don't really want to move them because they'll be wet and damp, and some of them, especially I think the metals, so like the command people over here, didn't get a full spray. Like for some reason I just did the plastics once. I had to kind of finagle the metals, like have them face down and face up and spray them a couple of times rather than just kind of doing an overall spray, which might be because I've not sprayed in a while. I still have to learn how to spray things, but the artillery's done, one of the commanders is done, and one of the battalions is done. So that's going to be good. I've got the other two battalions there. I've still got, because I've not done any sticking, I've still got the other British line. I've got the Hanoverians, and these Hanoverians to do for the British, to assemble. But I was kind of thinking that I'd get some priming done so that I can then break up the painting and the assembly as kind of like two separate phases to be doing with that. There was another issue. I don't have a palette yet. That's a problem, so I'm not going to be doing painting for a while. Most people seem to suggest a white ceramic tile, but I can't find like one on their own. You have to get like a big pack of like 40. Which admittedly is cheaper than getting like a dedicated ceramic one, and then the other options are really cheap plastic ones, but no one really suggests those, I think because they stain and then you don't get to see the colour properly. So I might keep looking to try and see if I can get like a white ceramic tile. I might actually ask some friends, maybe some friends have like some spares. I'll have to consider this. So yeah, that's part of what I've been doing. That's the modelling side of it, but I'm going to have to rejig my filming setup because this is currently handheld. It's going to have to be on a tripod because I'm going to need both hands for the next bit. And here's what I've been looking through. So you can get these books, these Osprey Publishing, various books. So Wellington's Infantry in 2 parts, the Hanoverian Army of the Napoleonic Wars. So that's going to be really good with the late infantry over there in a box. This is on a tripod, and the other bits in there. Yeah, so this is in a tripod. This is on a tripod, so it's not going to be as smooth to move because it's a bit stiff sometimes. And then the specialist troops, because that's going to include these guys, the engineers, or the artillery pieces. So I've been actually flicking through these to have an idea of the paints I would need, and because the idea is colours. Of course, we're going to need red. Well, we got that anyway. We're going to need black for the shakos. Now, I don't have any rifles, so these guys are less relevant. But I was wondering, I was flicking through this because I won't flicking while I'm flicking. A lot of writing. I've not really read any of it. I've mainly looked at the pictures. That makes me sound really, really intelligent. I looked at the pictures. Various kind of pictures of in black and white about various things that are going on. I think these are old images, old paintings of them. Uniform, what they look like, not so useful in black and white. Some colours, some of the King's colours there. More uniforms, looking at various bits and pieces. So also the King's German Legion. But then, wonderfully, you get to the people. You get the colour images. Now, these are really useful because they give you an idea of the colours that you might want. It might give you some ideas of what you're going to do. You've got a 1st Infantry Regiment, you've got a gunner from the Hanoverians, This is 1790, so they might have a very different colour scheme. And then you get 1792, there's a bit more red coming in. A dragoon dark blue. You got an officer from, a grenadier, sorry, where's the officer? The officer's over here. It's reading this key. And then over here, you have a Jaeger. So they're basically Hanoverian skirmishers. Now, we are going to have 8 or 9 spare Hanoverian bits. Hanoverian gentlemen. Now, in theory, we've probably got spare heads to make them 8 British, but I think it'd be more interesting to paint them up in this green as one of our as a Jaeger. So that gives us a skirmishing unit. So we've got a bit more variety in what we're doing. And I realised I could probably use the British heads, because I think we've got some spare British heads in various places. Okay, well, here's some. So here's some still on that sprue. Oh, and a spare body. So we've got 10 spare heads. So that means that in theory we could make ourselves a unit of the 95th Rifles. But I think I prefer the idea of doing the Hanoverians. Because I'm thinking, once I've actually done I don't want to call them the British forces, but all of these forces. Arguably they're all under the King of England, but that's a side point. Because I think Hanover was, I think King George was also the Elector of Hanover. Let's see if it's mentioned. Yeah, once linked with the British Crown. The Hanoverian army fought alongside Britain's armed forces in opposition to Austria and France in the 7 Years' War. Yeah. So, I don't know when they split. Is that mentioned in here somewhere? I don't think so. Doesn't talk about the history of Hanover. That'll be interesting to look into when that's split off. Never mind. Wildly off topic. Wildly off topic. But one thing I'm thinking is what we could do is we could split the forces. So we would have 3 British line and an artillery versus 2 Hanoverian line skirmishers, which would be our Hanoverian Jaegers, and then another British line. We'll talk about that in a moment. And we can actually do like a battle between them just to kind of show you the rules and also for me to learn the rules. I will probably get them all horribly wrong. But it means we get a smaller battle, slightly faster than if we're waiting for me to have also done the French, based on the current speed I'm kind of making things. So that's the Hanoverians. I've not really flipped through this one too much, the specialist troops, because quite frankly, all I really need are the gunners. So number 3, so they wear a dark blue, which I think in some cases led to a bit of confusion with the French, who had a similar kind of blue. So these are all the Royal Artillery fellows. Field officer, the company sergeant. You can tell because he's got the pike. So if I get this fellow, you can see he's got a pike, because he's the sergeant and he's with the colours. And you can see if actually I don't know if you can see, and I don't want to work on zooming because I can't remember how to zoom on this thing. There's also pikes back there with the colours. So there's a few different options there. So that then raises the question: how am I going to separate out the British? So I don't think there's a good chart. I think there's a chart in here. It's not as good as the other one, but I'm still going to show you. So here, this is, let's have a look. Here is a list of the various regiments, and you'll notice all of them have facings. So the facings basically are, let's see if I can, the cuff and the collar. So you'll notice that this soldier, this private, has got black. So he's got black collar and a black cuff. And this person, who is a sergeant major, has got red and red. So one of the ways to distinguish, so you can see yellow there, you can see white, more black, yellow, blue. the key way that they would distinguish this is, and there's a gentleman all in white, apparently, Argyllshire. That could be interesting. That'd be something different. But that's what the facings were. So to distinguish between one regiment and another, they would have the different collar and cuff, the different facings. And the colour of that would be the colour of the regimental colour. As you can see here, regimental colour. Oh, I don't know if you can hear that. That's the rain. That's another reason why I don't do much. Because the glue requires it to be in a ventilated area. That is how I ventilate this room. The window. And it has to be open. And so if it's raining, I don't really want that open. So I think it's another reason why maybe cut-off assembly won't happen as much, which is a bit sad. So they would have facings. They'd also have the lace. So the officer's lace would be a different colour, either gold or silver, depending on, probably more like yellow and white, based on which regiment they were with. So our officers, so we've got one officer for each. We've got, oh dear, we've got this gentleman for this one, and then we've got these other two over here with their swords. They'll have different coloured lace. Now, there's not a huge number of different colours, but there's a lot of flexibility in what you can do with this. Here's one place, then in a bit more detail, which might not be as easy to see here. Let's see if I can find it. There is basically 2 of these pages dedicated to these lists. So it goes into detail, so the number and the title, if they had one, the facings, the officer's lace colour, the loop shape, which is somewhere, loop shape, oh yeah. Loop shape, space is indicated, it doesn't, I don't even know what all of these things mean. And then the men's lace pattern. Now, we can't really do much with the pattern because that probably would involve sculpting or very fine detailed painting, and I cannot do that. But we can do the paintings for the faces and the lace. So, I've been thinking about what to do with these. Now, I keep umming and ahhing about what to do, but my current thought is that one of them is going to be, because a lot of people who watch my channel are American, we're going to do a couple of battalions. We're going to do a battalion of the 60th Royal American. They're going to have blue facings and silver lace. Now, the Royal Americans were set up in, I think, the 7 Years' War, which I think is also called the French and Indian War. And they were set up predominantly from German settlers in America, I think. And they stayed as part of the British Army after the incident of the 1770s, the slight disagreement that involved in war, and some rather nice songs from Hamilton. You'll be back. And so I might bring those in. The other thing is I might actually use those for rifles as well going forward, because the 5th Battalion of the Royal Americans became a rifle battalion, and then I think split off, or did they all become rifles? I can't remember. But I might use those, and because they're Germanic, because a lot of them were Germans, I might pair them up with the Hanoverians in the little kind of whatever battle thing. I'm still umming and ahhing about the other forces. I'm thinking, I think Staffordshire, Cheshire, potentially the 8th King's Own, because that's one that represents a city, and that'd be Liverpool. That's my thought, because then I've got a connection to all of those. I don't have a connection to the Americans or the Hanoverians, but I think that's something to do. So these books are actually really useful. I say, even if you just want like little snippets of information, even if you want the images and the colours, I think they're really useful. Or certainly they have been for me, just to kind of plan things out. Principally, I think if you want to get into the British kind of regiments, this kind of page is really useful. This information, it goes from the 1st to the 104th, then there's the 1st to the 12th West Indians, then you've got some stuff about the King's German Legion, and then the garrison regiments. So The ones I'm thinking are the 8th King's Own, based in Liverpool, which is blue and gold. Now, you might remember, I know it was only a couple of seconds ago, the 60th are the blue and silver. So they might get confused, but I can't remember the other numbers are. I think the Cheshire's 20-something, 22nd Cheshire. So that's buff, which is kind of like a pale brown, I think. 22nd. I can't remember the second Staffordshire. And the reason I went with the second Staffordshire is because they're a different colour, I think. So it's black. Let's see if we can find them. They'll be... I'm doing it like this because I want to try and show you things. Our first Staffordshire's yellow. The reason I didn't pick them is because I don't have yellow. And there's another option, which is the black. And I do have black. I got black in my second kind of purchase of colours. So I think that's what I'm going to go with as a plan. I mean, I can't paint anything until I get the palette. So I'm going to have to try and find a way of getting that. I might look online, see if you can get like single white ceramic tiles. If nothing else, I might be able to find something on eBay, actually, thinking about it. Surprised I didn't look at that before. So yeah, so basically this week has mainly been getting these guys sprayed and doing a bit of like kind of reading and looking through these to get some ideas. I think it'll be interesting also to kind of get on with that kind of battle once all of these guys are done, just to kind of get a feel for the game. At some point in the distant future, I might actually be able to play against people, so I might be able to actually kind of film like a full battle report with a person, if at some point we're allowed to meet again. Who knows? So there we go. So this week I'm hoping to get another battalion sprayed. Depending on if I can open the windows, I might do some more painting. Not painting, I've just talked about the fact I haven't got a palette. I might do some more assembly. I don't know which ones I'll glue. I might do the British line just because then I've got all of the British done. All of the bog standard British done. The other thing is, I'm going to have to... I mean, these guys are not going to be too difficult. I'm going to use him as my Hanoverian commander, I think, just because he's got the same hat with a little bit of a plume, but it's the same kind of hat, so I think he'll be a good fit for them. That's what I was going to do. I was going to have some Hanoverians march past him on his base. So if I've got 9 spare, actually I've got this guy as well, so I'm going to have 10 spare, so I could give him 2 Hanoverians with him, potentially, for a little kind of diorama type thing. That could work. And then I'm going to work out what I'm going to do with these. As I said, I think I'm going to spray one of them this week, and depending on like how many times I have to spray, I might then bring in the second unit. Although I've got a lot of cardboard, so on that workbench, I could potentially put both on and get them all sprayed in one massive batch, potentially. I'll have to think about it. I'll have to really think about that. Probably. I mean, admittedly, this is Saturday morning, so I could get some stuff done today, potentially. Yeah. So the thing is, I've not assembled everything, because I need, at least, when it comes to the commanders, I think I want a commander for the Hanoverians, and then I want an overall commander. So I'm thinking him, because I want to have like I'd love the idea of like a Highlander brigade. Like you can get like proper Highlanders. The only problem with that is that basically means that is a brigade that's purely infantry, and doesn't have any kind of artillery or cavalry support. Although, yeah, I mean, you could go with the Scots Greys, I suppose, and have a Scottish brigade. Although the Scots and the, I think often like purely Irish regiments like the Connaught Rangers, I think often were kind of paired together under a command That's a kind of Celtic brigade. So I mean, those are the. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I will forget all of these because I've not really didn't know of anything. Actually, I know I don't. I know I'm going to leave the Highlanders separate and might use them next time. Actually, if I do want some Highlanders. If I get some Scots Greys, that's going to be some cavalry, which is what I think this force needs, along with more artillery. But I mean, that's also one of the benefits of doing like a small battle involving the two forces, is that will allow me to have an idea of like how is artillery very good? Do I want more infantry, or is this going to be enough? Because it's going to be six battalions of infantry, so that's quite excessive. I get the feeling that that's quite excessive when you've got one artillery piece and one skirmisher unit. So you've got 6 line infantry. Although, of course, I think a lot of Napoleonic fought battles were resolved with the infantry. They were kind of the key centre point. So having a lot may not be too bad, he says. I'd like at least one cavalry unit. But we'll work on that next time we get to the British. So once we've done all these guys and we've done the French, I think they definitely need more cavalry. By more, I mean some. Dear. So yeah, I mean, part of me is actually thinking, because I'm mad, and I was thinking about going into loads of different forces. Anyway, is look at like the top kind of viewers, countries by viewership of my channel, and try and represent all of them. So that's one of the reasons I'm leaning towards doing some Royal Americans, because then I'll have an American unit representing the Americans that watch. Hopefully, I don't get them killed. But yeah, we've then got some people from the UK. We've got some people from Germany with the Hanoverians that haven't been built yet. I could do like an Irish regiment from here. I don't know how high Ireland is. I'll have to have a look through. I think Mexico's quite high. I don't know what I could do with them. I don't know if they were independent at this point, if they were part of Spain. I know that Spain's occupation of France led to a lot of rebellion in South America, but I don't know about kind of Mexico's position. I'll have to think about that. And by think about that, I mean Google it. Well, there we go. So yeah, as I said, hopefully next time more primed, possibly more assembled. It'll be good to kind of clear out all of the Allied troops from the Waterloo box. So I might do some work on those. I've also, of course, got the Hanoverian command to sort out. Yeah. So, well, we'll find out what happens this week. Depends how much time I end up with.